Hey everyone, it's your boy bloodwizardy.a and I'm back with a new gameplay, and the game for the day is We Happy Few. The colourful, creepy We Happy Few is set in a British town called Wellington Wells in an alternate 1964, where a non-Nazi German Empire won World War II. While under German occupation, the people of Wellington Wells did something horrible beyond chaos. They chose to erase their memories with some sort of pills called joy. A couple of decades later, Wellington Wells is a groovy rainbow, high-tech police state where being a drug-free downer is illegal, and every respectable citizen sports a permanently smiling mask. The town's infrastructure is falling, and the outskirts are filled with the joy resistant. But nobody is rude enough to mention all that, if they notice at all, thanks to the joy pills. The game's primary character is an employee named Arthur Hastings, who goes off his joy when a newspaper story wakes up old memories of his long-lost brother. But it's divided into acts featuring 3 different gameplay styles. After starting with Arthur, it shifts to his childhood friend, Sally, a stealth-focused chemist who is secretly and illegally raising a baby. The third character is his old neighbor, Ollie, a military who prefers brute force and hallucinates the ghost of his young daughter. The characters' stories intersect, but each is seeking redemption for a different, all-consuming regret, while trying to survive in a world where regret is a sin. We Happy Few initially launched as an early access sandbox survival game in 2016. While the team worked on a story-focused campaign, the final product is like a scavenging simulator and gives you some of the good vibes from BioShock game style. It hits between a story and a survival, but the survival portion soon becomes annoying, busy work locking up the story, fighting primarily by spraying or injecting enemies with drugs, which means every single takedown requires expanding limited resources. But the biggest problem is that We Happy Few runs far too long, especially because it approaches Arthur, Sally and Ollie acts as one interlocking narrative. Arthur has the most share of the arc and his story. Basically, I can say his story will end the game. I can't remember another game that made me feel so aware of how odd my character rushing around, punching and stealing must look. Games like Assassin's Creed have obviously made stealth an integral part of their story and mechanics. But the anxiety in We Happy Few does not come from failing a mission. It comes from being publicly humiliated, called out as different and chased and screamed at until you can find a safe place to hide from the bullies. There are ways to level up and hide your motive with drugs and skills, but you'll always feel on edge, walking when you want to run, turning in the streets to avoid trouble, even though it made little difference to the game's mechanics. I steered my characters into the shadows, tried not to come face to face with NPCs. Honestly, it was a relief when the mob was small enough that I could just beat them to death with a cricket bat. But after all, I prefer hiding in such situations since the character is weak. The 3 characters you'll play as all are broken in their own ways. They stand up on their own, but the addition of characters like Sally and Ollie is both generous and damn clever. You get to see the same people and places from different perspectives. There are times this game is not comfortable one to play, not with the real world the way it is, and teams of separated children and fake news and Britain cutting itself off from Europe as handedly as possible. You'd be forgiven for thinking you were trapped in a fever dream at times. I don't read my video games to change the world, but it feels important that a game is telling stories about how effed up things get when you blindly follow government policies. Block out anyone different and stick a massive happy face on the citizens. Precisely because the story and the world stunned me so much, I can forgive it for some of the technical issues that popped up here and there. A wonky frame rate, cookie cutter NPCs, I must have seen the same little old lady 100 times. And animation glitches were all dotted through my hours and hours of gameplay. The skill tree system is helping the gameplay to feel somehow fresh. All three characters have their own separate trees. Though many of the abilities overlap, skill tree allow two buffs in the stealth and combat categories, as well as other boosts like increased inventory space. The skills won't blow your mind, and I do wish they were a little more imaginative, but it's nice to have the characters grow to become better at sneaking at some places and more adaptive at dealing with the locals. Taking out enemies mostly comes down to close quarters melee combat if you can sneak up on the enemy. When you are facing a larger enemy, you'll be relying on a fairly basic hitting, shoving and blocking actions. There are many different items that the players can make using the generous amount of scrap that provides the game. Thank you for watching, thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more future in the reviews. Until then, peace.